Hey y'all, peace. Great day. I hope you have had an amazingly great day. Well, it's nighttime now, but I hope you had an amazingly great day. In Imago Day in the image and likeness of God. My name is Victoria I. Phoenix, and I am the founder of Trauma Training University. I'm an ACE, escape strategist, author, minister of the gospel. ACE stands for Adverse Childhood Experiences, which is childhood trauma between the ages of 0 and 18 years of age. But people are dealing with it, or as I say, it's dealing with them even into their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, even until death. And sadly, but very commonly, it causes people to have early death, to have premature death. People who have not dealt with the ACEs at play is what I say. The ACEs at play in their lives, the things that have happened to them in childhood, which later led to heart disease, cancer, several divorces, extreme or perpetual poverty, all types of things that are in your reality right now could be the result of an ACE or ACEs at play, an adverse childhood experience or something that happened to you in childhood that you have not dealt with. And so what I know and what I say is that what we don't deal with will deal with us. So I'm blessed, I'm graced to not just be a minister of the gospel, but also to work in the industry of helping people become more trauma informed and trauma responsive so they can triumph over trauma, so they can play ACEs. And so tonight on Playing ACEs, I'm doing part 2 of what I did last week, which is overcoming the trauma of family guilt, okay? Overcoming the trauma of family guilt. Now, this can be an ACE, an adverse childhood experience. It happened in your childhood, or it could be something that is happening in your adulthood, because I don't focus just on ACEs. I do a lot on ACEs, but also on other social traumas. And so part 2 tonight, overcoming the trauma of family guilt. That's a big thing with a lot of people, especially in African American communities, but it's in all communities. And so thank God for this work, for the ability to be able to do it, for the grace to do it, and to be able to have an avenue into people's lives and to help them. And so I'm gonna start off with like kind of a story tonight. So when I was in high school and college, I was high school, I was like a tomboy, right? And then in college, I went to Spelman and I became, I started dressing more feminine and doing more things. And, but I didn't, I was a real tomboy in high school. And I did not date anyone, but then there was a guy from my church who, he was not really as active in church as I was, but everybody knew him. He grew up in that church, so he would come around sometime. And he was a couple years older than me, but nevertheless, he showed interest in me. And so we were more like, just kind of like friends. But then when I went to college and came back, I had grown up, he had gone to the military, came back. Then we actually started like to talk. We never dated or anything, but we were on the verge of it, right? And so, I was in college, and like I said, he had been in the military, had come back. He actually had a little baby then. He wasn't with the mother, but so we were trying to start like entertaining the thought of dating each other. We were kind of like talking, spending more time together, get to know each other, because I was at a more mature place then to want to actually entertain that type of thing. But he had always liked me, even when I was a tomboy, even when I was at church, when I was young at the church, and he would be in and out. But he was I think was a good guy. Came from a family very similar to my family. As a matter of fact, my birth mother and his mother were friends. His mom knows all of my family, and had some dealings and kind of hung out together at some point. But nevertheless, we started to try to kind of get serious right before I went back to school for my I think my sophomore year in college. And it really didn't go very far. And like when I went away to school and I like tried to call him or talk to him, he was really kind of distant or whatever. And then when I came back, I really found out that he had started dating someone, this kind of thing. But what really is really key to what I'm talking about tonight. Prime example. I thank Holy Spirit for bringing me this back up to my remembrance a couple weeks ago or earlier this week. So, when I came back for the summer, and we actually ended up working in the same spot. I worked at Dillard's for several summers during my breaks from college, my summer break. So I worked at Dillard's, and he knew I was working there, so he actually had gotten a job there while I was gone, and he actually started dating somebody there that worked at the store as well. But what I later found out when I actually did get a chance to talk to him, and we kind of hung out a little bit more, he was like, I knew he really liked me. I could tell, some of the things he had done and things he had said. And like I said, he pursued me when I was a tomboy, and I wasn't really even into guys like that or in doing anything, dressed like a guy, everything. And he, but he showed genuine interest in me. But he told me why he liked me, because I was different, that kind of thing. So I think we actually had a good relationship, good potential. But he told me that when I went back to school for my sophomore year in college, we had hung out really heavy, like, because we had just reconnected, but we hung out like really heavy, like 2 weeks before I went to college. I went back to my sophomore year. And he said, yeah, so he was on the phone, and he said, my mom said, you don't know what she's going to be doing up in Atlanta. That's a big city. She's in the college. It's this kind of stuff going on there. It's, of course, I was in the AU Center, so that's the largest conglomerate for higher education for African Americans. All types of schools are there. At that time, it was Morris Brown, Clark Atlanta, Morehouse School of Medicine, the ITC, or the seminary, and then you had my school, Spelman, and then just probably about 15 minutes away, you had Georgia State, Georgia Tech, Agnes Scott, all types of things, right? So his mom, like I said, which was a friend of my birth mother, God rest her soul, told him that he didn't, basically put in his mind that we couldn't have a relationship together because I probably was not going to be faithful to him. And of course, for people who know me, that was the farthest thing from my mind. I've always had a very faithful personality, and I'm not. I mean, I never would. I wasn't even into like people like that. I was doing a lot of other things and just living my life, and I really, but I did to have interest in him because, like I said, he showed a genuine interest in me. But I found out that his mom kind of coerced him or got in his mind that because of, I guess, the norm, what people are used to from the kind of family they came from, the kind of family I came from, with the typical African American culture in where I'm from, where we are all from. She had it in his mind. Now, to him, I'm not trying to big up myself, but he knew I was a catch. She knew I was a catch to him, like a real catch. I really could have enhanced him. He was a good guy. And I think we could have had, but who knows? God, it could have just been God saving me. But the thing is that he missed out, and he later found out he missed out. He ended up marrying the girl that he was dating, that had started dating. We all worked at the same department store. She cheated on him, and it was just crazy, right? But because of that mindset that his mom came from, because of that, remember I talked about last week, for those of you who don't know, how to get outside the box. The instructions for getting outside of the box are on the outside of the box. So in order for you to get outside the box, you got to connect with somebody, some thoughts, some ideas on the outside of the box. And many times your family will make you feel guilty for trying to get outside the box because the family has made the box comfortable. Y'all got jacuzzi in there, y'all got a barbecue grill, deep fryer, all that kind of stuff. Everybody dressed up, looking nice inside the box. And so when anybody makes a reach to get outside the box or to connect with people outside the box, sometimes that's where their family guilt comes from. But I'm not even getting to that point. I'm just saying the environment that his mother grew up in and his mother knew, and the family he was from, and like I said, the family that I was from is very similar to that. He thought that it was no way possible, and his mom put this in his mind for us to have, and it was just Atlanta, so it was 2.5 hours, away. I would come home very often. He had been in the military. He knew how, it wasn't anything. It really could have been doable, but his mom put in his mind that, she has something going for herself. She's an attractive woman. She's young. She's this, and this, and she's not going to be faithful to you. And he really blew a golden opportunity because, like I said, I'm very faithful. I was interested in him. I was attracted to him. I had a good bond with him because, like I said, he had interest in me when everybody else just looked at me as a tomboy, because he genuinely liked my personality, that I was bold and that I was, smart. He would just different things he would tell me. And I can remember when I came back from college and I had started dressing more feminine like a young lady. He saw me the couple of weeks that we ended up. We ended up hanging out right before I left to go back to Spelman. We hadn't talked to each other the whole summer, but some kind of way we reconnected, and I talked to him very heavily for like the last 2 or 3 weeks before I went to Spelman. We got really close, but then when I tried to, call him back when I went away, he was acting cold. But later on I found, because his mom, but what I was saying was, when he saw me, he had never seen me the way he'd seen me, because I had started dressing like a woman, had my hair, with the Farrah Fawcett feather. Nobody was doing what silk outs and stuff. Then I was just, I mean, many people said I had blossomed into a flower. I was a tomboy. I was always cute and attractive, but I acted like a boy. I dressed like a boy. But when he saw me as a female and saw me dressed up, he was like, so, you know, he was in awe because he liked me as a tomboy because he, I mean, I was cute, but I was, you know, like a boy. And so, but he had, I knew he thought a lot of me. He thought highly of me just on the things he said to me, how he pursued me, the conversation, why he liked the things he told me, why he liked me. And that I had on this really nice outfit, but it's the first time he had seen me that feminine. I just got my hair done, like I'm getting ready to go back to school, go back to college in Atlanta. And he said, I want you to come over to my sister just had a baby. My older sister just had a baby, but her and my younger sister, everybody's going to be hanging out at my sister's house tonight. I want you to come over there because I want to show my little sister what I want her to dress like when she gets that age, right? And so he thought very highly of me. And like I said, he was attractive. I was attractive. I'm attractive. We had a lot of, you know, we connected on many levels, but his mom, because of her limited mindset, and guess what? Your family, what I told you, nobody has instructions on how to get outside the box, because the instructions on how to get outside the box are outside the box, and a lot of times they beat you down and try to patronize you and ostracize you for trying to get outside the box. And so his mother convinced him that it was no way I could be faithful to him, that he shouldn't pursue a relationship with me. And he really blew it. Like I said, I don't think he's not married to this day. And the girl who he ended up marrying, she was not for him. It was just crazy. But nevertheless, he blew a golden opportunity, because guess what? The mindset that most people make their decisions with is the mindset that is common to their family and has been common and integrated and enriched and reinforced for generation after generation after generation after generation. I talked about it last week. And so this young boy, like I said, I don't know, he could have been married to me, but I don't know, maybe I would have found out something. I think he had, at the core, he was a good guy, and I think I could have helped him. I'm a pusher. When a man finds a wife, he finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. Like he wasn't, you know, he had a lot of potential, and he could have been really great with me because, but you know, he missed out on this opportunity because of what his mom told him, right? What his mom told him, that, you know, you don't know what that girl gonna be doing. She gonna be in Atlanta. You know, Atlanta, first of all, everybody think Atlanta's so this and this or whatever, but just this country, impoverished, limited mindset, and he adopted it, and he really liked me. Like I said, and he wanted to be with me, and later on, we ended up working somewhere else together. You know, he had gotten a degree, I got a degree. We ended up working at a school together. But like I said, it was pretty much over then. But guess what? A lot of times, or most times, unless you find a way, you're one of the small percentage that gets out. I told you, the instructions on how to get out of the box are on the outside of the box. So no one in the box, nobody in your family, they may have good intentions, they may have great work ethic, but they don't know how to escape poverty. They know how to get out of Egypt, but they can't get to Canaan. But most people don't even know how to get out of Egypt, okay, especially black families. They don't know how to get past a religion in a church, being taught that it's okay to struggle and it's God's will, for he wants to teach you and try you for you to be sick and broken, poor. That is not of God. And because of that limited mindset, a lot of people, it just keeps perpetuating. Like I told y'all, the devil doesn't really have to work super hard when it comes to a lot of people. All he has to do is let you be born in a family, because it's been reinforced and rooted in that family that this is the way we do things. This is what we accept. This is what we go after. We don't go after too much. This is this. And so it's amazing how Holy Spirit brought that back up to my remembrance of how this young man missed out on. Listen, I promise you, I'm gonna catch. Most people, not a lot of people who know me know who I am, right? I'm married. I have 2 children now. Me and my husband happily married. But this young man, like I said, he missed out on a jewel because of the fact that the limited mindset that his family had. He had the same one like most people. And that's why I'm on here. That's why I love to teach people to play ACES, to get rid of those adverse childhood experiences. You grew up in a family. I heard a very powerful man of God say this. If you came out of a poor family, be sure, and this is me adding it, be intentional, be conscious that a poor family doesn't come out of you. If you came out of a broken family, be intentional that a broken family won't come out of you, right? And so I saw this on I saw this on social media the other day. So this is a couple quotes that I put up last week. I said we were going to talk about them, but we never got a chance to talk about them. But this meme was put up. It said, people who bite the hand that feeds them usually lick the boot that kicks them. Okay, let me say it again. I'm gonna do a little Selah minute. Let y'all Selah moment. Let y'all let it sink in. People who bite the hand that feeds them usually lick the boot that kicks them. Right now, they're talking about dog behavior, right? But y'all know, heard of people saying, well, you know, don't bite the hand that feeds you. You're a fool if you bite the hand that feeds you. The person who's taking care of you, that's the person you want to give the most problems to. But guess what? That happens a lot in families. Like I said, I've seen this close up. I've seen it personally. I've seen it close up, people around me, and I've seen it afar off from celebrities and people in the community that I don't necessarily know, but you can see it. It may be on the news. It may be, or you know somebody who knows somebody, whatever, right? So that's a powerful quote. People who bite the hand that feeds them usually lick the boots that kicks them. Now, I talk a lot. I'm called a lot to African American people, but this isn't all racist. But I'm talking especially to a lot of black people, African American people. A lot of times, I talked about this, and I wrote about it. It's a quote from my book when I talked to you all about Forerunner friction. This lesson tonight, and it's part 2 of what I did last Tuesday night, is a prime example of Forerunner friction. What's Forerunner friction, Victoria? Just in case you didn't know, or if you want to refresh it. So Forerunner friction is a concept and a term that I came up with that's related to trauma, right? To childhood trauma or social traumas. So Forerunner friction, y'all know what friction means, but somebody's rubbing against you, going against you, right? And so Forerunner friction is when you're the forerunner, you go ahead of everybody else. Hey, Chandler, put your 3 crowns in the comments. Good to see you. You go ahead of everybody else, and you're the first person to do something. You're a pioneer, a pace setter, a pathfinder is what my apostle calls it, right? So you're the first person to do something. So my term, Forerunner friction, is the adversity, the hell, the friction, the what is it? What is it? The pushback that you get from people. It could be your family. This in this instance, Tuesday night and this night, I'm talking about family, but it could be your coworkers. It could be church members. It could be people you grew up with. It could be your classmates. It could be your people in your neighborhood. But when you're the first person to either achieve something great or good, or to escape something bad, right? That's Forerunner friction. You're the first person to do it. The people around you give you friction, right? They give you pushback. They want to try to pull you down. They want to discourage you. It don't take all that. Well, this, and this. And guess what? And what I put, this is a quote I use a lot when I'm training. I'm in front of hundreds of people at a time, and I use this quote. It's in my book, Play Your Ace Before It Plays You. The people who give you the most hell about succeeding are usually the ones who need you to succeed the most. Okay? Forerunner friction in a nutshell. The people who give you the most hell about succeeding are the ones who need you to succeed the most. The people who are inside that box. Remember I told you, the instructions on how to get outside the box are outside of the box. They're written outside the box. So in order to get outside the box, well, how are you going to get out? You got to connect with somebody, some ideas, some thoughts, some leaders that are outside the box to help you get out, right? But because the box is so comfortable and so familiar to your family, generation after generation after generation, or the people you hang around. It could be coworkers, whoever, but tonight, specifically, we're talking about family. They make it hard for you to get out of that box. But guess what? They don't know when you get out the box, now you have a chance to bring somebody else out. Y'all have heard it as the crabs in the bucket theory, right? It's the same thing, but like I said, the guy who explained this box thing to us one time, he was talking about the instructions, so he talked about getting outside of the box. And y'all know, we know the cliche of, think outside the box, or the saying about think outside the box. Yeah, to get outside the box, you're going to have to think outside the box. But the only people thinking outside the box are already outside the box. And many times, your family is the opposite. Your family is the one making that box so comfortable, so conducive for you to stay down, for you to stay familiar, so for you to stay common, because they feel better with you in there. The more people in there, they love it. They want to feel, and so they give you hell about succeeding. There's that forerunner friction that is so much rubbing up against you. But those are the people who need you to succeed the most, so that they can see somebody do it. Even if they're going to hate, guess what? They might hate. Then it may take a whole lot of people hating until one person, either in this generation or the next generation, say, hey, I want to do what he did. I want to do what she did. She showed, my uncle, my cousin, my sister showed me this can be done, right? And so people who bite the hand that feeds them usually lick the boot that kicks them, right? Like a dog, right? They talk. This metaphor came from a dog. Don't bite the hand that feeds you. Like dogs are stupid, basically. So the first part of it, I never heard the second part until recently, and God, Holy Spirit, had me pick it up when I saw it on social media a couple of weeks ago, and I didn't know that He was going to use it for me to teach it this week, right? Or that it was tied to this. But I know it's a powerful quote. So usually I've heard, and you probably have heard the first part of that quote: "Don't bite the hand that feeds you," but it comes from, we're talking about people, but it comes from somebody saw that in the behavior of a dog, and they use that metaphor to talk about people, anything, right? So dogs a lot of times are dumb, they're stupid, right? Even, you know, until they get trained properly or whatever, that you're feeding them, and they're stupid if they end up biting you, because, you know, I'm the one taking care of you, right? But guess what? Sometimes in families, and I've seen this happen, I've seen it personally, I've seen it close up, and I've seen it afar. Okay, on all three levels. The child, the daughter, the son, that the mother, that the father favor, and a lot of times it's the person with the weaknesses that's doing all kind of stuff to sabotage themselves, sabotage the family, and it's okay. The Bible says we need to comfort the feeble, right? But guess what? A lot of times, we're not just comforting them. You have people that are catering to the needs of the people who are destroying the family, the people who are takers. They have nothing to do but take. They have nothing to do but destroy. They have nothing to do get to contribute but negative. But people want to, because one, you feel like a hero, because it makes you feel a little better that I'm going to help this person, because you're not too far removed from them. But in order for you to help them, it makes you feel a little better. My pastor talked about this last night, how people fake people have this fake service to the community. They want to serve the poor, but really they're just enabling the poor, so they'll always be a hero to the poor, and they feel better about themselves, right? It happens in families too. So you have the family members that are the hell raisers, the troublemakers, the black sheep. And I'm not saying, I teach on trauma. I'm not saying that it's unfounded. A lot of times it's things that have happened. But rather than cause that person, and that's getting me to another quote that I got from social media, very powerful. Rather than helping that person deal with their crap so that it stops dealing with them, everybody wants to cater to that person. And the person who actually is the one person trying to get outside the box, who can help everybody get free, or help a lot of people get free, break the cycles, break the curses, they beat them down because their little minds just can't fathom it. They feel so alone and threatened that they're going to be exposed, that they're going to be left alone in the box. They enjoy the company of this pace setter, this pioneer. They enjoy that person's company. They enjoy that person's energy. But guess what? I want to keep it close to me rather than letting that person go out and get something from the world that we've never had. Go and be around some people who can teach them and empower them and help them with some things that we never had in this family, we never had in this community. And so it's a trick of the devil. It's a bondage. I talked about it last week. I don't want to get too much back into what was talking about last week rather than the little organic references that I make. But go back and watch last week's if you didn't, or if you just need a refresher based on some of the things I'm saying. But so a lot of times the people who are trying to carry the family, they take the weight on their shoulder and say, I want to help us. I'm willing to make the sacrifice, to pay the price to get us out of this situation. I'm not asking for anything from you, just maybe some understanding and patience. And even a lot of times they're not going to give you that because they have that box mentality. They're comfortable in the box. They've made the box comfortable. They've found a lot of ways to defend the box. They've spent a lot of time studying excuses and coming up with mindsets of, we grew up this way, who you think you are, and it worked for this person and that, when in reality, if you sit down and listen, it hasn't worked for anybody. But a lot of times those people in the box, they're not going to support you. And like I just said, you might say, as the forerunner, as the pace setter, the pioneer, the pathfinder, let's get down the side of the box. You might say, I don't need anything from you. I just need your support. I need you just to leave me alone. They won't even do that because they fear that you're about to get outside the box. It's going to expose them and make them feel bad about staying in this same generation after generation after generation bondage. It's going to make them lonely because they enjoy your company, because you are that positive anointed energy, but you cannot stay there just to make them feel comfortable, because you got to go out and go away in order to bring them out. But so a lot of times that quote, the people who bite the hand that feed them often lick the boot that kicks them, like a dog, like a dumb dog. The person who is trying to make waves, the person who is trying to get what it takes, be around people, be under anointings, be around things that's going to help them break the cycles, that's the person that they beat down. That's the person that, instead of honoring and helping and supporting, they want to find everything wrong with that person. So I want to encourage you that if that's you, that should impel you even more to get outside that box, to connect with people. Guess what? People say blood is thicker than water. Only blood I think is thicker than water is the blood of Jesus. Okay, my prime example, and I'm not getting too much into the gospel, but I am here. If I always say, as a minister, as a Christian, as a kingdom citizen, if I'm ever in doubt about if what I'm doing, if it's wrong, whatever, I look to my prime example. It's a lot of people in the Bible. Paul, Daniel, all had good stories, but all of them had flaws. But guess what? The prime example for anything we need is Jesus. Jesus walked away from his own family because they were against what his plan, what his reason for being on earth was. Okay, you have a reason here. It may not be as serious as Jesus, but then again, it is, because you have the ability to save people, to help people, bring people out of what they are. But it may be through the fact that you're an artist or you're a hairstylist, you're a mechanic, whatever. You might not be the Messiah, but guess what? You got some Messiah on the inside of you. So you have a gift to give to the world. But guess what? You got to get around people who know how to help you execute that gift at a higher level. You got to get around people who know how to break free from bondages and break free from strongholds that have been. Stronghold is a fortified place. It's been reinforced year after year after year after year. It has several coats of paint or reinforcement on it, so it's tough. It's not gonna break easy. Okay, sometimes it's not gonna break it all. So that's why you gotta escape. That's why I call myself a social trauma ACE and social trauma escape artist. You can't just leave. The devil's not that. He's not willing to just let you leave, especially when it comes to traumas that may have happened to people when they were 5 years old, 2 years old, 12 years old, and now they're 62. Now they're 42, and the devil still has them in the chokehold because of tonight we're talking about the specific trauma of a family guilt. If you expose that, if you talk about that, what happened in this family stays in this family type stuff. When you start trying to get help for it, when you start realizing that you've healed, or you can heal better by releasing it and helping other people. It's some people that don't want that boat rocked. They don't want that little red wagon upset. They're so comfortable suppressing and medicating their pain with all types of dysfunctions: drugs, alcohol, food, sex, workaholism, all this kind of stuff, that you're upsetting that little wagon. And so when people who bite the hand that feeds them, the main person, one of my favorite quotes, my personal quote, is in my book. The people who need you to succeed the most are often the people who give you the most hell about succeeding are those who need you to succeed the most. They depend on you, not just financially. They depend on you spiritually, because when you break through, guess what? It's going to break something else. I've used this. I talked about it last week. That I think it's the 4-minute mile. Nobody had ever run the 4-minute mile. When one person did it, people started doing it. Like the next month, it was 2 other people, and then within a year, it was several people that had run the mile in 4 minutes. Had never been done before, but guess what? When it was broken, it's spiritual now. Whatever happens in the natural realm happened in the spirit realm first. When that threshold was broken, guess what? The gate is open. Other people can come through it now. So the people who need you to succeed the most, to get outside the box for the family, to get outside the box for the community, they're usually the ones who give you the most hell about succeeding. A lot of times they may be the ones that were previously closest to you, because the devil knows how to work. Okay, and so I told y'all I was going to make reference to another quote that I saw. So the quote that I've been talking about just now: the people who bite the hand that feeds them usually lick the boot that kicks them. So let me go back to this example. So you have family members. I've seen family members do this. The mother cherishes, favors, it without a doubt. Nobody can doubt it. Obviously favors certain children, right? Those are the children who, when the tables turn, who end up that are not about business, that will sacrifice the mother for anything. They're into their own lust, their own passions, their own building, their own kingdoms. When the mom really needs somebody, it's the person that's beat down. It's the person that she dishonors, and she favors the other children over there. I've seen it happen, and those same children not only disappointed, but ended up abandoning the mother, abandoning the father. The people that you fight for a lot of times the most, okay, you favor them. You bite the hand that feeds you and lick the boot that kicks you. The person that always wants to take, wants to drain, wants to hurt, wants to wound, is all about themselves. That's the person a lot of times that everybody in the family wants to favor. One, because of that hero syndrome. They want to feel good about themselves. And then 2, like I said many times, it's just it's a spiritual opposition to the person who's trying to get out. They might not even know why. They sometimes it's intentional. They feel like, I'm helping this person. This is the person. Don't look down on this person. We always need to watch out for this person. But just like I told y'all last week, when Jesus told those disciples, when they got mad because the lady poured the oil on him, he said, the poor will always be among you. Some people don't recognize that you are the breadwinner. You are the person that's the pace setter, the pioneer, the pathfinder for the family. And so, and they want to cater to the person the black sheep who's causing all the problems. I wouldn't say cater to them, minister to them, help them to deal with the trauma that's dealing with them. But when they feel they want to deal with it, they don't want to deal with it. They want to just keep making excuses and medicating it with all types of drugs and sex and all this kind of stuff. You got to let that person be and actually minister to the person, support the person in some kind of way that's trying to get outside of the box to help other people get y'all out the box, right? And so, but oftentimes because of this dysfunction, because of this bondage, because of this trauma, people who bite the hand that feeds them usually lick the boot that kicks them. They cater so much to certain children. And I've seen it. I've seen it, black families, white families. Like I said, I've seen it personally. I've seen it close up in my family, and then afar off in people that I don't necessarily know, but you know of it. It could be celebrities, the mother, the father, the grandmother, whoever, the people in the family. They favor the person who is most dysfunctional. One, because it's a hero syndrome. They want to feel like, oh, we're helping this person, but you're really not helping them. You're enabling them if you're not helping them to play that ace before it plays them, or to deal with that trauma. But you want to cater to them, and then the person who is bent on, set on, who is intentional about going against the odds and getting outside the box so that they can get others outside the box. That's the person you give the most hell to. You bite the hand that feeds you and lick the boot that kicks you. The person, listen. This is another one. This one just came up. One of the cliche or proverbs we heard that if you play with a puppy, he'll lick you in the mouth. Right? I've seen this same scenario right here. People who bite the hand that feeds them often usually lick the boot that kicks them. You spend all your time, energy, and money on the people in the family that's tearing the family apart. And this is why. This is another quote I saw on Facebook. Powerful. It's good. It's good, y'all. It says, it's a meme. Where is it? My God. Come on. Let me find it, y'all. Let me find it. It's a powerful meme. It's a powerful meme. Oh, let me find it. I just saw earlier. Let me see if I sent it to somebody else. I thought I sent it to myself. I got it. Okay, let me see. Oh. Somebody posted this on Facebook. Family patterns that matter of fact, I'm gonna give this person credit. It's Kiara Koenig or something like that. Okay, Kiara Koenig. Family patterns that we think are normal that are actually signs of dysfunction. Moving on by pretending like nothing happened. That's that family guilt. Why we got to talk about it? Why you just trying to make people feel bad? Because guess what? Ignoring things don't make them go away. It just makes them fester and larger. The devil banks on that. That you remember this? This is famous for black people. What happens in this house, stay in this house. It has destroyed generations of people. People got molested in the house. People got, physically abused. Things were stolen. All types of stuff that should have been discussed so that you can take the power from it has been locked up inside. You got to hide it, and it has the power within a person, okay. So staying silent when things need to be addressed. Okay, again, trying to avoid. Oh man, I was listening to the wisdom teacher earlier today. Man, this nugget stuck. So I did not have to write it down. It's powerful. He said confrontation is the effort to preserve a relationship. Okay. I've never been afraid of confrontation. I'm not a person who picks, but I'm the person who I'm very upfront. I'm very blunt. A lot of times people say, well, people don't really know how to take you unless they get to know you, right? And God has been helping me with a certain aspect of it, but certain aspect is just who I am. I'm straight to the point. I'm blunt because we don't have time to be cheating on placement tests because you're going to end up in the wrong place. Hopefully y'all caught that, right? And so, confrontation is necessary if you want to get to the bottom of things, right? A lot of people are like, well, I avoid confrontation. Yeah, a lot of times you're a pushover and your life is a mess. You have no boundaries. And so this is another family pattern that we think is normal, but it's actually signs of dysfunction. Staying silent when things need to be addressed. The next one, always having to be the bigger person. Next one, having to walk on eggshells because someone can't manage their emotions, okay? The last two are heavily connected. The last one, pleasing the person with the most dysfunction to keep the peace. My God, I've seen it personally. I've seen it close up and I've seen it afar. That means I've seen it from all angles. You've seen it, okay? Man, let me read these again. And I'm gonna probably reshare this picture because Listen, tonight we're talking about overcoming the trauma of family guilt, how you can be stuck. You got so much potential. I'm not going to say you can be. You got so much potential. If you're watching this, the playback or live, God has a gift in you for you to give to the world. That gift will absolutely make room for you. That gift will energize you and empower you. But guess what? If you leave it on the inside, it's going to eat you alive from the inside. But guess what? A lot of people keep it suppressed because of that family guilt, because the people inside the box hate on those people who want to connect with somebody outside the box, who has instructions on how to get outside the box, because their mind won't fathom it, because they spend too much time reinforcing the generational bondages. My God, the devil doesn't have a lot of work to do. I said this several times last week. All he has to do is make sure that you're born into that family, because the family itself just keeps perpetuating this same foolishness, this same bondage, this same garbage, and fighting hard against the people who are trying to get out. Thank God I made it out. Thank God I made it out. And I want to help other people make it out. Don't let this guilt, don't feel guilty about it, because guess what? Somebody got to get out. And guess what? There will be somebody. It might not be in any generations that's here now. There will be somebody inside your family box who wants to get out. But believe it or not, some of them are in there now. They just need to see you make it out first, okay? They fear failure. But they also have constraints on their mind, because the same mind. Remember I told y'all the Einstein quote? You cannot solve a problem with the same mind that created it. And guess what? Everybody in the family has that same mind. And not only that single mind, but it's reinforced so many times because it's hundreds of years old, passed down through the bloodline generationally, right? And so that's just like the story I opened up with. If you're just getting on here, go back to the story of this young man that I almost dated. Where we had a close friendship. We kind of talked, but we never got on the verge of dating. But he oh my God, his life could have been so blessed by even if we never got married to that point, just being in a relationship with me. But he let his mom say, oh, she's going back to Atlanta, she's going back to Spelman, you don't know what she's gonna be doing. Had no idea what kind of person I was. He knew more of the kind of person I was, but that limited mindset influenced him, and it happens a lot. So the meme that I used earlier is this one, okay? People who bite the hand that feeds them usually lick the boot that kicks them, okay? So don't be offended when they're kicking at you, when there's Forerunner friction. The people who give you the most hell about succeeding are the ones who need you to succeed the most. Many times they're literally depending on you. They're depending on you financially, but they're depending on you to be the strength. They're depending on you to be the rock. They're depending on you to break the barrier, okay? So that other people can get through. But they don't know how, because they haven't been taught how. They've just been taught how to stay bound. My God, they just been taught how to accept being bound and make it a family bond, make it a common thread. And what is it? What do they call it? Your trauma bonding. Make it something that makes us all strong together, that you in the struggle together. Y'all have something to talk about at reunions and on Sunday dinner. It's foolishness. It's the same thing at the water cooler and people in the teacher's lounge at school. I'm an ex-school classroom teacher, always a teacher, but ex-classroom teacher. Or it could be in the break room in corporate America, whatever. Everybody, it's that trauma bonding. It makes you feel a sense of community. Makes you feel all warm inside. Your emotion that will destroy you. Okay, and so they don't know how to let you get out and help other people get out. Because they don't want to miss you. And my God, so let me take a hydration break, y'all. All right, let me take a hydration break. Let me read this again. So the first little post, somebody had put up a what is it, JPEG or whatever you call them, that said, people who bite the hand that feeds them usually lick the boot that kicks them. So dysfunctional, but it happens in a lot of families. It's a trauma of family guilt. The person who wants to do better. The person who says, this is not what God has for me. I love y'all, but I gotta go. Especially if I'm gonna help some of y'all, right? Another story. I can remember my first lady, the first first lady I ever had, the church I grew up in. Her name is co-pastor Betty Gardner, right? So I went away to college. I went away in 2000. I went away to Spelman College, right? Which is only 2.5 hours from where I live. But it's Atlanta, Georgia, you know, and I was there. And I really was very, very close to my my mom, which is my aunt who raised me. And so, and I really, I knew I wanted greater things. I knew my life I was called to greater. I knew I wanted to be a Spelman, but when I first got there, I missed my mom a lot. I missed home a lot. And so for a while, I cried like every night. I cried, not cry, like just laying around. I would go and do what I needed to do throughout the day or whatever. But at night, I would just be lonely. I mean, just wanted to cry. My roommate was like, "You okay? Do I need to report you?" Because they had told us about it in freshman orientation. Make sure if anybody you see, your roommate or anybody looks like, you know, they need help, you need to make a call to McVicker, which is health services or whatever, right? Health and wellness. So she was like, you know, do I need it? And I was like, no. And then we actually used to joke about it afterwards. Like, yeah, I was trying to wonder if I need to take you to McVicker myself, right? But for maybe like a week and a half, whatever, I would cry. Not every night, but I would cry often because I wanted to go home, right? Talk to my mom, like, yeah, I want to go home. I'm going to make it, you know, can I make it on the weekend? I couldn't make it on the weekend. I didn't have a car. I hadn't connected with anybody yet. And so I just thought I would be going home more than I was, and I wanted to go home. And so one night it was bad. I called my co-pastor, and she said, Victoria, she said, if you're going to help your mom, you got to go somewhere else and get what you need. You're going to have to go. I'm paraphrasing because I don't know verbatim what she said, but basically she said, if you're going to be able to come back and help her, you got to go away and you got to be strong. And I shaped up after that, right? That's the same thing I'm saying now. You got to realize it. They're not going to realize it because their minds are limited, because their minds are coated over. They've been coated with several coats of paint. I'm looking at it because my kitchen's getting repainted right now. Some things in my kitchen. It's several coats of adhesive or whatever you want to think about when you're working on a project that has made this thing fortified. And guess what? You can get out, but it's hard, especially, like I said, I talked about this last week. You have the pressure and the friction and the pushback of actually connecting with somebody outside the box so you can get outside the box. That's hard enough. But then guess what? Then you got the pushback from the people around you. So that's double whammy, right? Rather than if you come from certain families and certain communities of people where achievement is expected. You come from certain classes and races of people who are like, oh, you know, it's expected for you to do this. It's expected for you to be around this type of person. It's expected for you to go for that. No? So you never knew it before, but you got a taste of it, my God. And you say, I want to get outside the box, right? So finding your way outside the box is one thing, but then also finding your way loose from the grips, escaping from the people who are trying to hold you down inside the box. My God, right? And so people who bite the hand that feeds them usually lick the boot that kicks them. They'll praise all day. Y'all have heard this before. If you haven't, I'm going to tell you this. People start making little statements like this maybe about 10, 15 years ago. It's amazing how. It's crazy. It's stupid amazing. Let me say that. How the person going into prison or coming out of prison has a bigger party and celebration than people who graduate from school, people who open businesses, people. It's a dysfunction, guys. You celebrate. First of all, you want to be the hero. You feel like, well, I've never been in prison, so it makes me feel good to celebrate him or whatever. Or you're catering, you're licking the boot that kicks you. The person that's destroying the family, you cater to this person. This person is this, that, and everything. They have leadership, but they're using it for the devil's gain, right? And then the person who actually wants to see people free, wants to be free to see people free. That's the hand that you bite. That's trying, and the hand might not even just be feeding you yet, trying to get to a place to feed you. But guess what? Whether you know it or not, you might not be taking care of somebody financially or giving them physical things. You are feeding them. You're inspiring them just because they see you trying to do it. And a lot of times they don't know how to express it, so they express it as hate, as anger, as disappointment, as disagreement. But you got to look past that, because somebody's got to get outside the box. And when you get out, people don't, a lot of times, are not built to go with you along the way. But once you make it, then they have the confidence to jump on board, and that's okay. That's okay. Of course, you can't share in a lot of my rewards that way, but you can get on the bandwagon and get outside the box now that you know it can be done. But you can't fault people for who they are, until they know better. And most people, a lot of times in the box, they know better, but just feel so good inside that doggone box. Because your family, generation after generation, has made it feel good. Society around you has made your family, because it benefits them for you and your family to stay in the box, okay? To stay in bondage, all right? And so the other one, I'm going to go over these again. This was a post. It was a meme or an image put up by Kiara Koenig, I think. It says family patterns we think are normal that are actually signs of dysfunction. 1, moving on by pretending like nothing happened. Ignoring stuff doesn't make it go away. Think about something in your body. Ignore a problem in your house. It just gets worse, okay? 2, staying silent when things need to be addressed. A wise key that somebody taught me that I listened to earlier today. Confrontation is the effort to preserve a relationship. When somebody confronted, they care about you. They're trying to make sure rather than to terminate you, the relationship. So staying silent when things need to be addressed. Always having to be the bigger person. That family guilt people. Oh, you need to be the bigger person because this person, you know what they're going through. They've been going through it for 40, 50, 60 years. Okay. And not only is them, but guess what? Spirits travel. Like I just said, everybody in the box have the same mindset because y'all stay in the same. Some families literally stay in the same house, same neighborhood, same community. But even if you don't, I'm talking about your mindset. Y'all talk about the same stuff, share the same traditions, same foolishness, same trauma bonding. And so, it always having to be the bigger person. No, this person need to grow up. Okay, and that's related to the last 3 are related. Okay, having to walk on eggshells because someone can't manage their emotions. Same thing. Last one to the third one. Pleasing the person with the most dysfunction to keep the peace. It's time out for that because all it's doing is reinforcing that limited, bound, bondage mindset and passing it on to the people in this, whoever's around. It's contagious, and the generations to come. All right. A couple more things I want to talk about tonight. I think. My God. All right. So this is wisdom I heard from my Apostle Leroy Thompson. General in the body of Christ, very high up, very anointed, very powerful. Super, absolute, super notable, undeniable success in every area of his life. Family, marriage, finances, health, everything, right? So I take I put heavy weight on his words, right? He said this, and this is not verbatim, but he said basically make your family, your immediate family, like those people in your household, your inner circle, and train them to serve God and to serve you, okay? I had put serve God. Train them how to serve. Train them how to be with you, to undergird you. He talked about his wife, his sons, their daughters. I mean, his sons and daughters and daughter-in-laws and son-in-laws and the grandchildren. That's his inner circle. Yes, he has some ministers that he leads up and they're close to him. Some a few strong, powerful men, you know, that are under him and they're under his tutelage and that kind of thing. But his inner man, this was so wise because I was just sharing with a group of people last night because a girl said a lady said she had to learn to deal with her loneliness by, you know, walking with God. And I said, no, correct that. It's a difference between aloneness and loneliness. I'm alone a lot because I don't have time to be around a lot of people. I don't desire to be around a lot of people. I spend a lot of time in the face of God, in doing the work that He's called me to do, and preparing to do that when I'm not doing that work, which is stand before Him, right? But I love it. I love His fellowship. I love watching other powerful men and women, mostly men of God, who are wisdom teachers, prophets, who have the same anointing that I have, that God has connected me to them. Writing, teaching, studying, right? So I don't have time to try to be, I've never been that person. Even before I got this deep in the spirit, I've always been different. I've always walked in my giftings and callings, but just, of course, as you grow, there should be greater levels, especially as God thinks more highly of you and connects you with the right people, which I'm blessed that has happened in my life, most recently in the last few years, right? So I had to correct this young lady and let her know it's a difference between loneliness and aloneness. Loneliness is a bad thing. It's when you don't have people but you want people. Aloneness means you don't have people but you don't want people. You're not. That's not your desire. You don't have the space, the time, the energy for them. Right? I don't have the space in my life for that. Yes, I go to things with my kingdom family, with people who share the same goal to serve God as I do, and that's a beautiful thing. And I'm going to talk about that soon, of how, you know, things have shifted in these last days. Your kingdom family. I've talked about it recently, but I'm getting into the gospel rather than to trauma training. So let me come back. But it's a difference between loneliness and aloneness, right? I I don't think I ever, except with the exception of when I was young, I told y'all I was in college, my freshman year in college. I think may have been lonely because I just wanted a particular person. I wanted to be my mom, that kind of thing, right? And I didn't have like a lot of friends. My roommate and I were cool, but she had a boyfriend. She was from Atlanta, from College Park, so she went home a lot. And you know, she had another girl she was really tight with, but that wasn't me because, like I said, I was a tomboy. There really wasn't socially. I hadn't really found people, but I never really found those people because I'm different, and I always had some other things going on. But nevertheless, difference between loneliness and aloneness. All right, I have a loneliness. I don't suffer from loneliness, right? So, but there were some people, and I recently posted about this, that when you get revelation from God, the people you look up to will absolutely change. Man, I've seen that come to life in my life in the last 2 or 3 years so powerfully. So I wonder, like, you know, the Bible talks about iron sharpened iron. And I just talked to you also, even if you don't go biblical, I talked to you about how they said, you know, this expression that the instructions on how to get outside the box are actually outside the box. So what do? So you got to connect with somebody, some ideas, some real people, some virtual mentors, whoever outside the box that can help you with the mindset of getting outside the box, right? That's true. So you need people. You're going to need people, but people that are in the same vein as you, people who are above you that can pull you up, or they can be on the same level with you. Or people that it's 3 levels, and I used to teach a course on that based on my Better Than Average Elevated book, called Better Than Average Mindset Makeover, right? Where basically you need to spend your time with 3 types of people on your level, below your level, and above your level. But most of your time should be above your level of people pulling you. If you heard the saying that if you're the smartest person in the room, you need to find another room. Absolutely. I talk about that in that chapter of the book and in that course, right? So I'm like, Lord, so you know, I want to be around people, we're social. What did I say in my trainings? When God gave me this statement, we're social creatures and relational beings. That's how God created us. We're social creatures and relational beings. We have to be around people. We thrive on that. You don't have to be around a lot of people. You need to be around the right people. So don't get it twisted. Jesus had disciples not just so they could duplicate his assignment, because he needed relationship with people. That's why God sent him through a family, rather than just putting him on earth, which God had the power to do. So we're social creatures and relational beings, right? So I'm like, God, okay, so you know, my inner circle and just being, you know, the people I spend my time with, I do like to travel and that kind of thing. And my apostle, I was taking his class. I just graduated from his school earlier this year. I was taking his class, and he said, you don't need to be, this is a class for like ministers, leaders. He said, you don't need to be around a lot of people. I don't have a lot of people. He said, my family is my inner circle. He said, train your family. Let your family, your immediate family, your husband, wife, children, grandchildren, whatever, to be your inner circle. The people, and I wrote it in parentheses, basically, the people in your household to be your inner circle. Train them to serve you and to serve God, okay? Especially when you have a great assignment for your life. When he said it, that's very powerful. You don't need a lot of people. It's okay. I'm okay with just traveling, you know, being around my family, because like I said, it's aloneness, not loneliness. Never been lonely for people. But when you do need to do that social aspect, certain people. So my apostle said this statement. It answered a question for me. It was golden. He said, let your family, he said, my family is my inner circle. My sons and daughters. Well, he has one daughter. My sons and daughter-in-laws, and my daughter and her son-in-law. My son-in-law and my grandkids. He said, let your family be your inner circle and train them to serve you. And you don't need a lot of people around you, because it's cut off for foods. That's powerful. But guess what? The wisdom teacher I was talking about, he talked about, man, this was powerful for me. In all relationships, you either going to train people, tolerate them, or terminate them. When you have people around you who were in your inner circle or have the potential to be in your inner circle, but you find yourself just tolerating them, it's only going to get worse, okay? If you're tolerating them, okay, if you're tolerating them, it's probably because if you're tolerating them and you're steadily growing and they're staying the same, it's only going to get worse, because y'all going to go further apart. Or they might not be staying the same. They're going in the other direction. They're declining. Either way, y'all getting further apart, right? So, man, this wisdom teacher said in every relationship, you got to find out if you can train this person, people around you, close around you. Can you train them? Or are you just going to tolerate them? Because you can't train them, but you know, you'll let them hang around. Or you're going to terminate the relationship. Powerful. Tie that into what I just said, okay? You got to get away from around people. They could be extended family. They could be people that you thought were in your inner circle. They were, until you learn stuff how to weed people out. The standards by which to grade this, okay? People who bite the hand that feed them often lick the boot that kicks them. So they're going to be worshiping and fellowshipping with and growing from and taking on the likeness of people that's kicking them, okay? And they're going to be taking away from the hand that feeds them. Those are the type of people you don't need in your circle. You have to determine when it's time to terminate, right? So everybody that's close around you, either you can train them, you can tolerate them, or you're going to have to terminate them, right? Because what you carry is serious. The trauma of family guilt can destroy people. I've seen it, okay? Let me take a hydration break. You got to get away from people who are not going to protect the golden goose in you. They bite the hand that feeds them and lick the boot that kicks them. They worship. They want to hang around. They want to support. They want to serve. They want to minister to the people who are takers. Take away from them. Take away from the family as a whole. Take away from society. They're the takers. But they have a common bond there. They have that trauma bond and they feel like a hero helping this person. And guess what? God gave, this is appropriate right here. God gave me this prayer last year, and I told people to start praying this prayer. God helped me to maximize connection and to manage disconnection. Okay? God helped me to maximize connection and manage disconnection. The people you're supposed to be connected to who actually make you better, or you are called to make them better and they want to be better. You got to maximize the connection with them. Make sure that you have, you devote your time, energy, and money to the people who make you better or who you're called to make better and they want to be better and they're taking from you. Because guess what? It's a zero-sum game. The more time you spend over here, the less you have over here. The more energy you spend over here, the less you have over here. And so people who bite the hand that feed them often lick the boots that kick them. So they're going to be around and receiving energy from and growing from and coalescing, growing with the people who are takers, the people who are. And so you got to be around people who are going to protect your golden goose. You're the golden. If you're the person, the breadwinner, you're the pace setter. You're the person that has ideas and influence and the unction and the go get to help us get outside the box. You got to be around people who are going to protect that about you and not try to tear you down. Not try to. They're spending all their time, energy, and money with the people, the boots, licking the boots that kick them, and so they have nothing left for the hand that feeds them, and it's going to. It's a trick of the enemy to destroy you because you're the one. You're the one. You're the Daniel. You're the Joseph. Let me use, because Joseph had his brothers against him. Abel had his brother. You're the one who David had his brothers against him. So let me use those examples. You're the David. You're the Abel. You're the Joseph. So you got to get away from people who are not going to protect the golden. The golden goose is the one that that should be the one that's most honored, the one that people want to bless. I'm telling you. But some people, I said this last week, esteem their family higher than they esteem God. So rather than rock the boat, upset the little red wagon, and make people conscious of the fact of what they're not doing and what they should be doing. Yet, no, we're not trying to discount or discredit the fact that such and such went through a trauma or whatever. No, we're not trying to discredit that. But guess what? That was when you were 10. How old are you now? 47, 58, 63. It's a time and a season for everything. I talked about this on a lesson about a month or two ago, right? People say, everybody need their own time. No, it's a certain time. It's a season to everything. After you have surgery in the hospital, they kick your butt out in a day or two, right? You're only setting yourself up to invite more of the same, to invite negative energy, deterioration when you lay in the bed, when you lay in your sorrow. And so it's time to stop going back to this little thing right here. Moving on by pretending like nothing happened, staying silent when things need to be addressed, always having to be the bigger person, having to walk on eggshells because someone can't manage their emotions. And in every family, you know who it is, right? Pleasing the person with the most dysfunction to keep the peace. Oh no, it's time out for that, because guess what? I'm all about peace. God has shown me in the last year and a half, a lot of times that's how I greet people. That's how I end. Peace is our portion. Peace means more than just calm and tranquility. It means all things are well. But, you know, before peace comes war. You a lot of times to get the peace, you got to have a war. You got to confront something to deal with it, right? So I'm gonna share these photos, and like I said, I don't have to necessarily get credit because one of them I don't know who it was, but this one with the family patterns that are dysfunction, that person's name is at the bottom of that. So, but that's all I gotta say. You gotta you gotta get away from people who don't protect the golden goose, who want to bite the hand that feed them and lick the boot that kick them. You got something special to do. It's a lot of people depending on it other than you. You're carrying the weight. Create an inner circle around you that want to help you carry the weight rather than put other stuff on your shoulder. Needless stuff. All right? I love y'all so much. I love y'all. It's a lot of wounded people, a lot of traumatized people, but you can play those ACEs. I'm a living witness. Listen to these things I'm telling you. I pray the healing of all your soul wounds, that you be delivered from these bondages and strongholds that have been generationally reinforced and grounded and rooted. May they be uprooted in the name of Jesus Christ. By the blood of Jesus, be washed, be healed, be made whole. Receive these teachings. These are anointed words. If you do what I'm telling you, you listen to it, meditate on it, let it sink in, it'll change your life. And that's what this is about. All right, y'all? That's it. I don't have anything else to say. Peace, y'all. Peace. Have a good night.